Hello guys, welcome back to another video with me. I'm in the office again and I am doing a book review, but this is my very first book review from my Kindle. Right, so I'm very excited about this. So the book that I'm going to be reviewing is Never Never by Colleen Hoover and Tarryn Fisher. I think they collabed and wrote this together. So what we're going to do is I'm just gonna hold this up and do my book review. So I rated Never Never 4 stars. It says on Goodreads that there is 158 pages, but when I look at the pages on my Kindle, on my contents, it says that there's about 356 pages in the epilogue, which is here. So I don't know if that's pages or what. I think it is. So maybe it's different for different Kindles or what, but yeah. Goodreads says the book is 158 pages, and I think that might be paperback, but I'm not 100% sure. Okay, so I'm doing this for my N on my A to Z reading challenge. So I'll hold that up, because normally I'd hold a book. This is interesting to hold. I'll hold it like this. So I finished this a couple of days ago. On the 26th of May, and the year that this book was published was 2015. So obviously I have a Kindle Paperwhite, so it's black and white, but this cover originally is purple. So there are sex and drug references in this, obviously, because it's Colleen Hoover. Now I was a little bit skeptical when reading this book because I have heard some things about Colleen Hoover that can be considered as not too great, but I thought because it's free on Kindle Prime, I will give it a go and read it, and so I did. And this book was actually pretty good. I thought the storyline was unique, and I liked how there was mystery, there was problem solving. I like how each of the chapters were set from different characters' perspectives. And I also enjoyed how it talks about soulmates as well. I did like that, because the whole point of the storyline is to essentially remain in love. And I will give a review and talk more into it, but I might have to give spoilers. So if you're not into spoilers, just skip over that part. I would recommend this book. I would. I mean, Colleen Hoover has been a bit controversial in my book about some of the things she's written about from what I've heard online. However, reading this, I think that it's like, okay, that you can tell that Colleen Hoover does write some sex scenes in her other books, because this one was a little bit detailed. But it's not a bad book. It's creative. It's fun. And it's a unique story, which is what I like. So let me show you my colour wheel that I did. So for setting enjoyment, plot and characters, I rated it a 4. Oh, something just fell out. And for writing and readability, I rated it a 5, because it was easy to read, easy to follow on with. It was easy to understand. And Colleen Hoover's writing style is not complicated at all, which is good, because some readers may find it difficult to follow along based on people's different writing styles. So I thought that Colleen Hoover did a good job here. So it was... Okay, the reason why I rated it 4 was because it was a little confusing in some areas. There were a couple of things that I think that Colleen Hoover and Tarryn Fisher could have done differently. I think that there is a series of these books. I think there's about 3 in this Never Never series, which follows on from this. But I would personally have liked to have everything cleared up in this first book, because I don't know if these are available for me to read, like the other ones available to read for me on Kindle Prime. But there was a lot of loose ends that Colleen Hoover and Tarryn Fisher did not complete. There's a lot of loose ends that they did not finish. So there was a lot of things that I was a bit confused about. I wanted to know more, but obviously I couldn't. So I do think that they could have worked on that a bit more. Okay, so now we're going into spoiler territory, I think, because I've gave my book review non-spoiler, so this will be my spoiler. So I will probably write spoiler somewhere up here or somewhere where, if you don't want to read the spoilers or hear about the spoilers for this book and you want to read it yourself, that's fine. But I do want to just note that I will probably give spoilers. So obviously on a Kindle, I can't read the blurb as far as I'm aware, because I don't know if there is a blurb on here. So there are two characters that this book focuses on, and it's Charlie and Silas. I call him Silas. And these two characters are in love, but their characters are not allowed to be together because their families, there was a big family scandal between them, and they essentially accused each other of putting one of the families in prison, and so the families hated each other. But Silas and Charlie were in love, so that kind of caused a bit of complications in their relationship. And essentially what I gathered from the book is that they were going to break up with each other, and when they break up with each other, they lose their memories of them being in love with each other. And at the beginning of the book, it starts off with Charlie and Silas in school. They have no idea who they are, where they are, who their family are, who their friends are. They have no idea. So they have to try and get their memories back, and they have a 48-hour period to be able to gather as much information as they can before they lose their memories again. And it is inferred in the book that there is a spell that's put on them. So we kind of go down the tarot card reading, kind of all of that kind of jazz. But they've actually done it to themselves. So they've kind of made each other forget, because they were essentially harming each other by their toxic relationship at the end. And so they essentially made each other forget. And I really liked that. I thought that was a good, interesting idea of the storyline. And the ending, that was really unexpected. If you have read this book, you would know the ending. But if you haven't read this book, the ending is essentially Silas and Charlie at the epilogue, or the 1 year later says, or right at the end says, "We will never stop loving each other because I don't want to forget." That's fine. But right at the end, let me see if I can find it on my Kindle. So they have the epilogue, which is 20-something years later. So here it is, 20-something years later. And right at the end, which I thought was good, was that Silas starts to forget when his daughter's birthday is. So it's like, what's going on here? And it kind of leaves it on a cliffhanger. And I thought that was really good. I definitely like the cliffhanger, because it kind of puts it in a dark perspective that they agreed not to fall out of love with each other, but Silas is starting to forget again, which means, is Silas falling out of love with Charlie, or what's going on here? So I will see if I can find the other books in the series on Kindle. Let me just type in my passcode real quick. But yes, so thank you for coming along and seeing my Never Never by Colleen Hoover and Tarryn Fisher book review. This is my first Kindle. book that I have completed. I have read some books on Kindle that I haven't completed. But it's been really fun and I've really enjoyed it. So thank you for coming along and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye guys!